Yeah, it's a great start, and it's a very clear indication that you understand form and that you can construct scenes pretty easily with this lighting technique. One thing I can recommend, and I know this is just a quick comp, if we were to ask ourselves what the focal points are, it's like usually the face and maybe like storytelling elements like the knife and something over here maybe. The thing that's working against that is that there's a very uniform value of the rim light here, and it might be accurate, but what you want to do is have it the highest contrast in this area. And so what I would do is, grab this and grab a warmer, darker color and just fill it in on the whole thing and set that to darken. And then only in this area would I say, hey everyone, look here. And then here as well. But you could also sprinkle it a little bit, but you don't want to do it so much that it competes with our natural, I guess, pull to look there. And so if we turn it off, it's everywhere, it's too even. Now it's controlled to look there. Do you have any questions about this that I could help with in terms of how to go forward if you had to, or anything like that? Or
Yeah, I was wondering if there is anything specific you would change in the painting to make it not look like she killed him.
First thing I would do is probably move her away from center. It makes sense to do that. It works even because if you're watching a theater play, they might even center that whole scene literally in the center stage. But I think to have a different mood, let's actually just do that. So yeah, if you have the stage and here's the audience, the amateur thing I guess would be to put that scene right here. But what that implies visually, and this is a psychological thing, is that in that scene there's balance. And when things are balanced, there's less tension, there's less things to worry about. Now, granted, everything could be in shadow, so it works. But if you take that and you force it over to another side where it causes tension between the wall or the edge, and then essentially like a seesaw pulling more weight this way, it pushes our emphasis on this side and it makes it more interesting. Not just more interesting, off balance. And when things are off balance, they're dynamic, it pulls it in. It means something's a bit off with the scene, whereas symmetry is usually reserved for like religious things or things that are holy or very symmetrical. So yeah, I would move her to the left. And the narrative element that makes it look like she did the killing is that she's holding a knife. And so, especially since the knife is pointing down to the area where he's dead. So I would just get rid of the knife. Yeah, so I'd have the character head here, shoulders there, maybe even closer. And you got the feet sticking out over there. I don't know what the perspective is entirely, but there's the legs. And probably instead of holding the knife, just have her hold the guy's hand or arm or some kind of necklace, just like some kind of sentimental connection rather than a violent connection, which is the knife.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And I kind of have this urge to put just a very subtle gradient of that light coming in like this, like it's a somber moment saying this is a moment of darkness in a sewer or something, and we're beneath the light, or we're beneath where we're in a dark place beneath where things are light and proper. Anyway, that's narrative stuff. Cool, good stuff. Anything else? I know this lesson was mostly like drawing the geometry and of the facial features and getting that to look good, not necessarily a rendering assignment. However, the way you set up the drawing, shapes look good, feels like a real person, but the shading on it makes it feel a bit strange, and that's going to be to do with the value groups. Like right now, what this shadow here is implying is that the cheekbone does this, and then it goes really inward. Let me just do that again. Really inward, and it dips in, then out again, then in. Now, granted, that happens on certain faces, but it doesn't come back out this high again. Like having that bright color there implies that it's really peaking upward. The solution, by the way, would just be to make sure that this whole area is just dark so that it's the value group that's in the shadow side. But let's kind of just take a look at this. Because you might say, well, no, look, it's dark here, but it gets brighter right there. The thing is, because this is a dark value group, let's say the shadow side, this does not get as bright as this. This is the highlight area, or the mid-tone to highlight area. When you do create that relationship of this is darker and this is lighter, you have to make sure when you do that it's encompassed in the value group here, but it doesn't go any brighter than like a 5 or something. If we were to just fill this whole area in, it would still work as the design, or well, it still looks like the person. And you could even increase the contrast on that. Notice how it groups together. Now down here, it's like, it's definitely its own shape. Let's do this. And it kind of just groups together. And the highlights only happen really in a few areas. So anyway, long-winded way to say like, okay, so for here, I'm gonna squint my eyes. And it's actually, there's a pretty easy way to fix it. Make a new layer, make it gray, set that layer to darken or multiply, either one works. And fill that in as if the whole thing is in shadow so that it's within the dark value group. And then you peek over here and you ask yourself, okay, which areas are actually facing up to be the mid-tone or highlight? It's going to be this, that, a little bit over here, those shapes over there. But it's really not that much. If I just erase in those same shapes and patterns over here, that leaves the shadow and all the other spots where it's supposed to be. Over here as well. And you know, stuff like this just goes back to the sphere assignment where it's like, it's facing up, it's going to be brighter. It's going to gradate into the core shadow or the darkness. And so if we turn it off, it kind of just flattens in a weird way. Not flattens, it's not conveying the form the way it should. But now it is. And you could take it a step further and just like blend all that in. Yeah, anyway, I don't want to get too carried away with that one, but that's the main culprit of what could be worked on. Any questions on this one?